Fellow Kenyans, it's yet another beautiful time that we meet on the scale. Don't forget that this program, basically what we do is like we put on the scale our leaders, their policies, the development agendas that they have, so that we are able to establish if these people, what they're trying to bring to us, is something that is beneficial to us or is something that is just hot air or something like that. Kwa hivyo, nakuomba you like and subscribe so that tuweze kufuatana na sisi kwa zile episodes zote ambazo tutakuwa tuko nazo. Kwa hivyo tunaongea na lugha zote, Kiswahili, any language that you want to speak. There's no problem, you can use that in your comments. So it's not a big deal. Leo, today we want to discuss what is actually revolution. Najua nimesikia, I've heard many people complaining that sometimes revolutions are a bit costly, but the truth of the matter is actually they are not even costly, they are even painful. They are extremely painful and people lose their lives and even others lose their livelihoods. But you keep on asking yourself because these things have happened in many nations. And if you look at history, you'll find out that the reason why people get to those particular points, you'll find either they are a tyrant, or maybe a dictator, benevolent dictator who's in charge, someone who's decided he doesn't want to do anything for the people, and people have got nobody to tell. And in actual sense, actually, they would say people have got really nothing to do. I mean, there is nothing that they can do. They've given up and decided fate will take its own course. But then you see revolutionaries are people who kind of try to wake others up. You know, there are people who say like, 1% or 2% is fully awake. They're the ones who are in charge and they're the ones who take care of us or rule over the others. There is then the 4% which is asleep, 90% which is asleep, and there's a 4% which tries to raise these people. Amkeni bwana, kuna nikubaya, it can be better. So you see, we need to do like a simple background of Kenya. And I know people might hate me for it, but that is the truth. And the truth, again, we say those are facts and they have to be laid bare. Tuanzie na before independence, you'll ask yourself very crucial questions. Being a son of a lineage of fighters, freedom fighters, a gentleman called by Marete, those are some of the freedom fighters who decided they have had enough. But if you followed your history enough, you'll find that some of these people were killed by their own kinsmen. Just like if you didn't know, ama kama huko unajua ya kwamba wale walikuwa nauza slaves walikuwa ni watu machiefs ama wakubwa wetu, wale walikuwa ambao wako Afrika wakati ule ndio walikuwa wanauza wenzao kama slaves kwa nchi za nje ama kwa wazungu. Unauza mwenzako, unauza ndugu yako, yani unamuuza kama slave. Unaelewa? So it's not like these things actually are new, but it's things that happen, alafu zinasukuma watu mpaka mahali mtu anafika, we feel like I've had enough of this and something has got to give. So you say, another American guy said a while back, during the revolution, alikuwa anasema the only regret ile alikuwa nayo ni ya kuwa he had only one life to lose for his country. I mean, someone would think, if our forefathers did not decide enough is enough, we will not be sold as slaves anymore. And if they decided that we are not going to work for nothing anymore, we are not going to let people take our country anymore, then we wouldn't be here. So, I mean, it's like even for us, at some point, we have to pay or to give our lives even for our country, because we have children and we would want them to find better country. So we say, or just like our grandfather said, walisema wacha sisi tufe lakini watoto wetu waishi huru. Now the first jambo la kwanza ambalo lilifanyika nchi yetu ambalo alikuambatana na matarajio ya wengi is like, unfortunately, when the Mau were in the forest fighting for freedom, many don't know, the colonialists actually came and struck some kind of deal with the elite of our country, the likes of Jomo Kenyatta. Saa zingine unajua ni vizuri kusema tu ukweli. the likes of Jomo Kenyatta. What Juliza, someone was in Britain for years actually before he came and became the president. In Sawa he was fighting underground wars and stuff like that. Lakini you will find he was more of a collaborator. And even if he was not, his actions after independence actually will tell a completely different story. Because what happened is like they struck a deal. Hamtatufukuza in the White Islands, hamtatunyang'anya sijui Delamere sijui nini, or hamtatunyang'anya sijui this and this. So it's like at some point I remember some of the Kenyans were screaming in hiyo walikuwa wanaita Rejiko sijui wapi ama wakati they had gone to London to represent the country. When the Muzungu guy had decided tutalipa sisi, hata sisi tutalipa ushuru kwa mashamba yetu, yani our own land. You come and invade us and you take over our land. We are working for you for free in our lands and you still want where we settled tukulipe hard tax, yani ukijenga kanyumba lazima kalipiwe, na hata mashamba yale ambayo tunalima ndio tuweze kujilisha bado tunataka tukulipe. And then people said, we've had enough. And we thank God for First World War, we thank God for the Second World War, because these are the kind of things that made it possible for us to know, because kulikuwa na myths mzungu hawezi uliwa na bunduki, but then after Burma people discovered, well, a gun can be made and mzungu can die, and the rest is history. Now unfortunately, when the second part of our betrayal is now when the Muzungus actually struck a deal, they give us independence, but they will maintain, like power. In places actually in Africa, even a place like Ghana, you'll find the government that had colonized them, they still pay them. They don't even have a national reserve. They take their money elsewhere. And that is why the Gen Zs and other young men of the world are taking, of Africa, are taking over, and saying, we cannot continue, giving spaces for military, camps, for foreigners, and we cannot be able, continue giving people mining rights for our own things. If you want to do it, come and do it at home. Kuja mfanyie hapa, kama ni mining mfanye hapa, mfanye refining or whatever it is, and then you can go. So the problem was, when now the freedom fighters actually were told, now we are free, we are independent, wakaambiwa tokeni msituni kujeni, wakakuja wakaketi wakaongea. And this is a story that you can also read. It is common knowledge, iko kwa mitandao, iko everywhere. So the likes of Baimunge actually, when they came in Meru, a place called Kenoru, that is where they were supposed to come and give their grants and stuff like that. And the president had sent someone to come and, that's gay, to come and talk to them. So when the guy came, they tried to explain the deal, and they were not buying it. They were saying, this is not exactly what we fight for. Of course, there are people who wale wanafikiria na matumbo zao. Wakasema kama tutapata mashamba ni sawa, kama tutapata hiki ni sawa, lakini wengine tutaachana na vita. But wengine wakasema hapana, we fought for freedom. This jamaa ni aende akienda kabisa, aende endete. Unaona? So it's not like it's like achukue part of it na sisi tukue part of it. Why is he inheriting or taking our land and then maybe paying 150 shillings per hectare up to now? Even that is 60 years after independence. So anyway, long story short, the guys went back to the bushes, and then wakaitwa tena, wakakuja, wakaenda wakapelekwa State House, wakaenda again, they disagreed with them. The next thing, the first betrayal was, waliitwa wakiwa wengi, wale wote walikuwa wamekatalia kwa mkutano, kwa msitu, wakasema okay, now we've agreed, yale yote mlikuwa mnataka yatafanyika, and they were shot, and their bodies were left to rot for 3 days actually. Ndio kila mtu akipita anaona, na mnaambiwa this is what we will do to any remnant of the Mau Mau, because now Kenya is a free country. Killed by none, sio mzungu, my brother. Killed by none, killed by our own men and women ambao walikuwa wamepewa kazi ya kufanya nini? Ya kukua the security people. Now the question here is, people fought, but the basis of our freedom is started in the wrong whatever. Wale walikuwa msituni, and you can bear me witness wherever you are at. If you someone who fought for independence, there are very few who got anything. Kama Dena Kimathi, bibi yake alikuwa anapewa na kina Kibaki, the other day anapewa land na anajengewa kanyumba about 50 years after independence, wale wengine ambao hawakuwa commanders and field marshals and things like that walipata nini? Kama ni upande kama huo wa Meru, Baimunge, akina Mwariama, those are people who actually died in poverty, and even their families at the moment hawana hata mashamba unless they have bought, maybe someone has educated theirs, ama someone akafanya kazi akanunua, they don't have land. So you see, that is an injustice ambayo iko kwa roho za watu bado. So now fast forward, the same people who collaborated with the colonizers, or the ones who actually were home guards, if you know what a home guard means, are the ones who are in power. The unfortunate bit, or their children are the ones who are in power. We don't have a problem with that. That is okay. But then, you see, we need to reach a point where we decide we've had enough of these colonial masters. We don't want neo-colonialism. No, we want to be free as Kenyans. We want to be free as Africans, so that we are able to do our things without the interference of these colonial masters. It's as simple as that. So now, fast forward, the same systems the white man was using to oppress us. And tunaweza sema in fast forward, hata kama kuna zingine hatujaona, fast forward tukikuja kwa 2024, ile finance bill ilikuwa unalipisha shamba ya mtu ambayo ni yake, unataka kumlipisha gari ambayo alikuwa amenunua yeye mwenyewe na akakulipa ushuru. That one was the highest level of dishonesty. Ama sijui siwezi kusema ni kama thuggery or something like that, because look at it this way. Maybe a old Vitz, a second-hand Vitz, because we buy Mitumba vehicles, maybe in Japan, is about maybe, let's say 300,000. After transporting it to Kenya, it will be 400,000, but you will buy it for 800,000. Where does the extra 400 come from? It is taxes, income duty, import duty, excise duty, all those kind of duties. So eventually the cost of the vehicle is not 400,000, because of the taxes it's 800,000. So when you come and say I will tax you based on the value of the car, value from where? Yeah, in Kenya, or the value in Japan, the value in Kenya, 800,000, which means you are taxing me on my tax. You know, I had already paid you 400,000, but if you are doing your calculations based on 800,000, it means I will pay tax on the tax that I paid. Hiyo ni ukoloni mamboleo, my brothers, and that is why people could not understand. Then you remove something like Linda Mama. We thought in this era, 60 years after independence, we are not supposed to be dying. All our mothers are not supposed to be dying, giving birth to us. Because not me, I'm not a woman, so I don't give birth. But wanatuzaa sisi wa mama zetu. But why do they have to die 60 years after independence? Ndio tufanye nini actually na pesa? Ndio tujenge barabara. Barabara unajengea maiti barabara. I mean, nobody should die. Nobody should die because that you cannot be able to go to hospital. Nobody should die. So, watoto wakiona hivyo, I mean, they have seen it happen. They started with a lie telling them, mtawapatia sijui laptops, sijui nini, hamkuwapea. Unaona the struggles that your parents are going through. Mnakuja mnachukua basari. Mnachukua pesa ya shule, mnaifanya basari. Mnajiongezea hiyo pesa ya CDF so that it becomes basari. Now we have to come and beg you, mheshimiwa tafadhali. Don't forget I told you, this guy is our employee. Ni sisi tumemchora kazi. So you go begging your servant, ndio akupatie pesa zako. Right? Just take the money to school, and this one will also be another episode ambayo tutaongea juu yake. I'll give you a very good analysis of exactly where we can be able to get money for free education, because I mean everybody has money and it is simple. It is over 80 billion Kenya shillings ambayo inapeanwa in bursaries. Then this is the kind of money that we need, because kwa education basically, if there is a building, honestly speaking, what do we need? A teacher. Hello, we only need a teacher. Akuwe pale alipo na serikali, then maybe a few books and things like that, and that's it. And we are home and dry. Watu wasome, waende wakajitafutie. But that is not what is happening. So with those kind of discrepancies, unakuta the rich are very rich and the poor are extremely poor. And the reason why they are extremely poor is because someone somewhere is corrupt and taking what is rightfully theirs. We steal even from our sick. Now the question here is, will you really just sit back and say, this is it? You know, you'll make noise when you're one, you will make more noise when you're two, but you will be loud when you are 22 million of you, like the Gen Zs are, right? So we have to see what can be done. And that is what a revolution is all about. But if everybody say that we are not going to do it because we are scared that we'll die, or we are scared or our property will be looted or something like that, then how do we change then? The question here is, how else can we change? Because these people don't want to change. And I'll give you a very good example. There is a certain point where SRC had decided, ukitaka kuja kuwa MP, mshahara yako ilikuwa ni 400 and something like that. Wakati waliingia, the first thing that they did was tutafuta SRC, tutafanya nini. That was the only other way with SRC, was the only other way that we could have readjusted the amount payable to a member of parliament downwards. But it was not possible. They would not allow it. Hawakukubali, walikata. Now the thing here is, every time mkisuggest something, wanakata. Mkisuggest kitu ingine, wanakata. That's the time now people come together. It starts with a few. Wanakuja together, wanasema we've had enough. Now, the worst bit is where you come out, alafu then people start killing you. Sasa mtu ambaye umeajiri, bunduki ni yako, tear gas ni yako, ni wewe umenunua, all these kind of things. The guy who is shooting at you is your own employee. Now you ask yourself, really, then tuendelee kunyamaza? Because someone lost his life. So will their life be in vain? Even me, I'll say like that guy, I'll say it is very sad that I only have one life to give for my country. Because personally, I don't know, Gen Zs are already on the streets. Wamesema sisi tukae nyumbani na tunakaa nyumbani, but then we need also to be supporting them in ways that we can, kama vile sasa tunaongea, so that I mean it's like we show the world that there is really nothing wrong that we are doing. Hakuna mtu anasema mtu atoke ende akaibe, hapana. But when now people go out, alafu police badala wafanye kazi yao, wanaanza, then they create, and everybody knows about what we call mob psychology. Nobody wants to steal anything, but now when you drive them, inakuwa sasa ni kama mnashindana, then you drive them into those kind of actions. So my thinking is, we have that freedom that is in our constitution, ambayo inakubali we can be able to picket na tutoke nje. Hao watu wanakuja na maji, wanakuja bila anything, lakini the police come with guns, and rungus and all those kind of things. Now it becomes chaotic because of that. So revolutions actually are forced by people in power, whereas now the citizenry, the ones who pay the people in power, feel that we've had enough and we cannot take this anymore. And then they go to the street. So it will be painful. It is always painful. And it will not be different for our country. It will always be painful. But the thing here is, looking at the history of things, the unfairness that has been practiced in this country, then it simply means it's either we implement everything that we've done so that now fairness actually is practiced, because it doesn't make any sense when there is a government where, let's say 50% come from one region, and we are 50 million of us with over 42 different languages and 47 different counties. I would think fairness is where everybody at least has got is at the desk or at the table where the cake is being shared, so that everybody feels, well, I am represented. If I'm not represented in that position, at least I'm represented in this position, right? So the Gen Zs have got another suggestion, is when we are doing this kind of thing, then let's also even combine the counties. I don't know, maybe we should. And the reason why, personally, I think that, the reason why we should collapse them is because if, for example, a county, like the county that I come from, county of Meru, we are given 12 billion Kenya shillings, but it's only 3 billion Kenya shillings that goes to development. 3 billion. So what happened to 9 billion Kenya shillings? Is recurrent expenditure, my brother. I don't have a problem with salaries, but then I have a problem with allowances, I have a problem with speed transport, this, transport, that. So basically it doesn't make any sense. And then there is duplication of roles. You will find the government has its own people, and also the county government has got its own people. So you find education, agriculture is devolved, but the national government are still employees in agriculture. So you wonder, what exactly are they supposed to do being in the districts where the counties are? So all those kind of issues are the ones which we are saying we need to bring them together so that we can have a better country for all of us. Kenya belongs to all the country that has got any revolution or a revolution is basically telling the ones who are in power that this country belongs to all of us. And you all also need to live happily in our own country. We don't want to feel like everything is all messed up. I mean, I cannot afford education, I cannot get employed, I cannot take my children to school, I cannot take them to hospital, basically I cannot even feed them. Then you don't understand. When someone runs after your mother, wewe uko kwa streets, unajua umesoma, mamako amestruggle, akiwa hoka, mpaka ukasoma, na amelipa fees mpaka ukasoma. Then wakati ule umedecide kuja kumsaidia, ndio unakuta okay, so my mom used to go through all this. Kwa sababu saa zile tu mmetandika hata kabla hamjasema ati ni afefte, askari wakanjo ndio hao wamekuja na marungu na nini, all your stuff na nini. Unaona mama anakuambia anyway, sisi tulizoea tu okota manini tuende nyumbani ama tuende kutuhamia mahali nyingine. That one would really hunger a young person. Itakutia uchungu kabisa. Yaani unashindwa, this is what my mother has been going through all this time that I've been in school. And then ufikirie mtu atanyamaza tu kweli, unafukuzana na mtu na rungu ambaye ametandika kwa streets, yani ndio aweze kulisha mtoto wake. And then you think there will be no revolution, then you are wrong, my brother. And that is why I would say to our president, you have to be extremely careful. These are the people who will promise baba zao na mama zao ati serikali itakuwa ni yao. So wakati utakuwa ukichagua serikali this time round, yes, hakikisha kuna qualified men and women ambao wako kwa boda, wako na madigrii zao. Hata kuna mama mboga ambao wanauza vitu vikikomba huko na mahali nyingine, na hao pia wako na madigrii zao. But then, well, whatever nature gives you or whatever life gives you is what you take. Gives you a lemon, you make lemonade, na unakunywa na unamalizana na hiyo story. So that is where they are at. Lakini sio kumaanisha hawawezi. So kwanza a person who is trading, maybe ako Nyamakema huko ana trade na ako na degree zake za economics, this person will be a perfect match for your economic advisor. Perfect, kwa sababu this guy understands the mathematics ambazo zinaendelea. Ukifanya hivi utafinya yule jamaa anauza kile pale, utafinya yule ambaye anauza pale. Wakati unataka biashara ikuwe nzuri, teremsha hii, hawa watanunua, wale watauza. It's as basic as that. Ukikuja kama kwa transport industry, tafuta jamaa mmoja wa matatu ama utafute jamaa hata wa boda ambaye ako na experience. They know what petrol means. Ikipanda anajua ni nini na nini inapanda. And he has been in those conversations. Ameketi kwa conversation akasikia, then people discussing. Wakisema, I mean, it's like, unajua sasa hii kitu ilipanda kwa sababu ya whatever. Not guys who are never in touch with the reality. If a guy was born to a ministerial home, the guy was a minister's son. So the guy, your minister or whatever, he has never experienced any of those kind of things. Watu walikupigia ukisema wewe unalisha kuku, ama ulilisha kuku, you are hustler, you started somewhere, they thought you will be able to resonate with their problem. Kwa hivyo be very careful wakati utaanza kudeal na the big boys ukiwa unasahau the small person, kwa sababu hao ndio wanaelewa. Na nimekupatia a very good example of the kind of heart, because me have seen it. Nimewahi kuona mama ametoroka na jiko ambayo inawaka moto akiwa na mtoto wake naye ameshika nini inaitwa ya kupika chips on the side of the road. Mafuta ni moto, mtu anatoroka na, because now this mother is wondering and even the child is wondering. Sisi nyumbani hatukuacha chakula, surely Mr. President, hatukuacha chakula nyumbani. So mama alinunua na ile pesa kidogo ilikuwa, akanunua tu viazi na mafuta ile walikuwa wanatumia jana. Ndio tukuja tuuze chips hapa kidogo tuweze kupata ya unga. Right? Tuende nyumbani. Alafu sasa unaona kanjo inakuja. Mtoto akatoroka na moto. Na mama akatoroka, mtoto akatoroka na mafuta, mama akatoroka na moto. So you can imagine what could have happened. Huyo mtoto angeanguka na mafuta iko moto, ama mama pia angetrip anguke na mafuta moto. Yet you feel for them. I'm telling you the truth. If you ever witness something like that, you will feel for them. But anyway, the choice is yours. These people are suffering. We are all suffering, right? Kumutu kuchapa mguu maybe kutoka Industrialia. Unapiga mguu kutoka Industrialia mpaka wherever unaishi, Kayole or something like that. Mguu. Kwani mtu hawezi kutaka pia hata kupanda matatu? Lakini sasa nikipanda matatu rent italipwa na nini? Nikipanda matatu watoto watakula nini? Nikipanda matatu shule italipwa na nini? But you see, if you organize the things, ikue I am able to take my child to school without paying any school fees because everything is free. I can be able, mtu akikuwa mgonjwa is not like a death sentence to our family, hapana. Kwa sababu we are able to take them to hospital and everything will be taken care of, then shida yetu iko wapi? And then I can walk in the middle of the night and nobody will ask me. I can hustle nikiwa nimepewa guidelines mzuri. I mean, it's naambiwa kuja saa 1, uza mpaka saa 3 kwenda nyumbani. Ni sawa sawa, lakini usifukuzane na mimi for no apparent reason, because hata kufukuzana na mimi the seller, you are also messing up the buyer. Because mtu akitengenezea chapati barabarani auze shilingi 10, ni kwa sababu kuna mtu ananunua. Na huyo mtu ambaye ananunua chapati ya shilingi 10 ni kumaanisha hana any other option. So let them hustle. Wacha watu watafute. Wacha watu watitengenezee kidogo. So anyway, that has been the revolution for you. It will happen and it will continue happening. It might not end this year or maybe next year, but eventually, if nothing gives in the issues that I have tried to articulate, then you have nobody to blame. We have nobody to blame. And God forbid, if my life has got to go because of the same, then so be it. It's okay. I have only one life, and eventually everybody will die. Hakuna mtu atakufa. Hata tuambiane ukweli. Whether you kill us or you don't kill us, or you kill them or you don't kill them, eventually hata wewe mwenyewe utakufa. This has been the scale for you with KinotiMarete. Please like and subscribe for better episodes like this or other episodes like this.